All right, this is the last lesson for rational expressions and equations, and these are applications of the equations that we just solved in the last couple of videos. So in order to solve, we are going to set up those ratios, or the fractions, for whatever information we're given. We'll determine a common denominator and solve for the variable, and then at the very end, because it's an actual word problem, we can write a quick little sentence to represent what our answer actually is. So plugging right along, here's example 1. Jimmy can tar a roof in 10 hours and Jack can tar the same roof in 16 hours. How long would it take for them to tar the roof if they worked together? So our format for these type of problems is that Jimmy can do one job over some amount of time, and then plus, who's the next one? Jack, he can do that exact same job in whatever his time is. And that equals the one job over the total time that it takes everybody to do it if they were to work together. Okay, so again, Jimmy's is going to be represented by him tarring one roof in 10 hours, 1 over 10, plus Jack tars one roof in 16 hours, and that equals 1 over x, because we don't know how long it takes if they were to work together. Hopefully it would be less than the 10 hours. All right, so getting a common denominator, we have an LCD of 80 for the two terms on the left. You actually can just put that into your calculator and add it up together, and it will actually give it to you in simplified form as 13 over 80 equals 1 over x. Now we have what's called as a proportion, one fraction equaling another. So in that case, 13 over 80 equaling 1 over x, we can cross multiply and set the means equal to the extremes. The product of cross multiplication equals the product of the other cross multiplication. So 13x equals 80, divide both sides through by 13, and we will get x equaling about 6.15 hours. So that is our answer. Together, it takes them a little over 6 hours. It takes 6.15 hours. That's a quick little sentence. Like, you could make it more complex, but there's no reason to. All right, let's try another one just like it. Oh, no, it's not. It's a little different. Let's read through. All right, working together, Julia and Stephanie can pick 40 bushels of apples in 4.95 hours. If Stephanie had done it alone, it would have taken her 9 hours. How long would it take Julia to do it alone? Okay, so the same setup, okay? We got Stephanie and Julia added together equals the total that they're going to do. So we are told Stephanie working alone takes 9 hours, so 1 out of 9 for Stephanie. Plus, how long does it take Julia? That's our question mark, that's our x. The total working together is 1 out of 4.95 hours. So as we're working through this one, you've got a couple of choices. You can get a common denominator for the two terms on the left, or if you just want to have the term with x isolated, you can subtract 1/9 from each side of the equation. And if you do that, again, use your calculator, guys, 1 over 4.95 minus 1 over 9, that will simplify to give you 1 over 11. And now we can just cross multiply again. The means equal the extremes, so 11 multiplied by 1 equals x multiplied by 1, so x equals 11. That means, who are we solving for? Julia. It takes Julia 11 hours to pick the apples. There you go. Okay, so that's not the only way. If you had gotten a common denominator, which is typically what we would do, then we would have had an LCD of 9x. So I would have an x over a 9x plus a 9 over a 9x equals 1 over 4.95. So then I would have had the quantity x plus 9 over 9x equals 1.45, or 1 over 4.95. And then you would cross multiply again, and you would continue to work through the process, and it would give you the exact same answer when you go through and finish this problem all the way through. Okay, so that would just be another method in order for you to solve that example. All right, next set. Number 3. Alone, Jasmine can oil the lanes in a bowling alley in 10 hours. Her friend Natalie helped her. So working together, it took them 4.74 hours. How long would it take Natalie to do it alone? Okay, so same type of problem that we just had in the last one. So we know Jasmine's info, 1 over 10 hours, plus we don't know Natalie's individually, 1 over x equals 1 job over 4.74. Okay, so in this case, we're going to show how to do this one a little bit differently. We're going to get that common denominator for all of the terms, and then we're going to multiply through. So our LCD is 10 multiplied by x multiplied by 4.74. So that would give us 47.4x. So when I multiply through 47.4x by 1/10, and then again by the 1 over x, and then again by the 1 over 4.74, we'll be able to simplify each of these little bits of info. So this first term would give us 47.4x over 10, which is 4.74x. The next one, when we multiply, will give us 47.4x over x, which simplifies just to give us 47.4. And then our last one multiplies to give us 47.4x over 4.74. And that simplifies to give us, oops, I'm not supposed to have the x in that denominator. That's supposed to be a 4, excuse me. Let me fix that. That last term will actually simplify to give us a 10x. Okay, so now we just have back to regular equations. We're going to subtract 4.74x from both sides of the equation. Here, let's do that a little bit better. So we're going to do 4.74x plus 47.4 equals your 10x. Subtract that 4.74x on each side. So now 47.4 equals 5.26x. And when you divide both sides of your equation through by 5.26, you will get x to equal 9.01. So that means, who are we looking for? Natalie. Natalie takes just a tad over 9 hours, 9.01 hours to do that job. There we go. All right, we got one more and we're done. Working alone, Bill can pick 40 bushels of apples in 14 hours. It doesn't matter how many bushels of apples, it matters his time. Chelsea can pick the same amount in 11 hours. How long would it take if they worked together? All right, that one's just like the very first one. So Bill, his 1 job over his time, plus Chelsea's 1 job over the time it takes her, equals 1 job over the total time. So 1 over 14 plus 1 over 11 equals 1 over x. You can get a common denominator between the two, which is actually 14 times 11, or 154. And that would give me 11 over 154 plus 14 over 154 equals 1 over x. There's no reason to get a common denominator there, because I'm just going to add these two fractions to get 25 over 154 equaling 1 over x. And now I can cross multiply. The means equal the extremes. So 25x equals 154. And when you divide through, you'll isolate your x and get 6.16. So that is their together time that it takes. Great job. See you guys in the next video.